Thank you. Good evening, everyone. We are here tonight at 16 Croton because the courthouse where we normally have the legislative session is being painted. Long overdue. We're very excited, but it does take time to do the work. So we're a different location. Today's Wednesday, December 17th. This is a business session. We will do the pledge and start our meeting. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Trustee White? Trustee Fritchie?
Present.
Trustee Yost?
Present.
Deputy Mayor Lopez?
Here.
Mayor Levin?
Here.
Hey, Mayor and trustee announcements.
Great. Dana, do you have announcements? No. Deputy Mayor?
No.
Bob? We're good? Okay, so happy holidays to everyone, whatever holiday you're celebrating or not celebrating. So for me, always a fun time of the year, especially with snow on the ground. Some of us just came back from Market Square to celebrate Chabad. The local Chabad does a very nice menorah lighting for the Jewish holiday. A lot of folks are there. I want to thank the police for really being very diligent. We've had some unfortunate incidents here in this country at Brown University, and on the same day that Brown happened, actually a professor was shot to death as well, which never even made the news because of so many things going on, and also a couple of continents away. So we really appreciate the police being here during these times. And do want to say that there's lots of Toys for Tots collections going on. Do want to say that the food pantries really could use your help. A lot of the churches are involved. Too long of a list in Ossining to really list out loud, but it's all over the place. So please donate toys, food, clothing, whatever you can to local churches and also Toys for Tots. And there are really in so many locations around town. So we appreciate that. A reminder that next week the offices close early at noon, right? Christmas Eve? 12:30, excuse me, not at noon, 12:30 if you need
Town 12.
the town at 12, the village. We're in the same building, but if you have to see anyone, please remember that. We do close for Christmas. We do open the day after Christmas. Some people somehow think it's closed, but no, we are open for business and we appreciate that. And we're ready to go.
Okay, special presentation. Civilian Police Complaint Review Board Annual Report. Mr. Aurora. Pressure.
First one. This is his first one, everyone.
First one.
You just have to say to her, next when you want to go through it. I don't think it's on correctly. There seems to be two.
It's on.
Let's wait 1 minute. And this looks very nice. Okay.
Right. So this is the 2025 annual report of the Civilian Police Complaint Review Board.
Mike, it's also here if it's easier for you
Oh,
to look.
perfect. There it is.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure.
Next slide, please. Oh yeah, I can't see. All right. So tonight's agenda is going to be, we're going to discuss the board members, turnover and vacant seats, compliance and training, number and types of civilian complaints received, disposition of complaints, any differences between the chief of police and the CPCRB's recommendations regarding discipline, summary of complaints against individual officers without naming them, comparisons with statistics from prior years, and then a 2026 look ahead. Next slide, please. These are our current members. I can name them where we can look at them, but it's Michael Aurora, Jennifer Cabrera, Kimberly Cohen, Cassandra Garrett, Mr. Addo, Roseanne Gonzalez, and then the police representatives, Detective Jared Hajislianos and Sergeant Ben Irvin. For this year, we had a turnover of 2 board members, which are replaced and were fully seated as far as members. We had OPD changes, Ossining Police Department changes and turnover. We have a new police chief. We have a new lieutenant, and we have those representatives are newly to the board. It was different representatives. We do have one town alternate vacancy, which I believe may be on the agenda for tonight to be filled. Deputy Mayor and myself, we interviewed someone. Next slide, please. So this year, we wanted to get back kind of the basics, and just with the turnover on both the police side and the board side, we wanted to really just scrub the board and get back to making sure everything was fully up to par with compliance as far as each member and up to what they need. So the board compliance, I'm happy to share, is 100% compliant in the fingerprints, background checks, confidentiality oaths, mandatory basic core training, required attendance of all members for the year, and continuing education and training. Next slide, please. So the training that we were able to cover this year with the back to basics is the core training, Village Code, Chapter 8 review, Westchester County Civil Service Law, Human Resource Procedures for Employment and Selection of Officers, the recruitment process, various sections of the New York Vehicle and Traffic Law, felony car stops, and we were able to use the VR goggles, the virtual reality scenarios towards the end of the year. Next slide, please. Next, we'll get into the complaint statistics, the total, type, disposition, category, and comparisons. Next slide, please. So total complaints for the year is 1. The findings substantiated was 0. That finding for that complaint was unsubstantiated. I'm sorry, unsubstantiated, yes. Unfounded, 0. Exonerated, 0. And no findings, 0. Complaint types were 1. The category of the complaint was a traffic stop related complaint. Findings differed from the chief, between the chief and the CPCRB were 0. We agreed on the findings, and officers named in the complaint was 1. Happy to say a comparison between 2024 had 5 complaints and 2025 shows 1 complaint, which is a drop of 80% for this year in civilian complaints. Next slide, please. So just a look ahead at what we plan to do on the board for the year to come. We want to review some timelines of the core trainings for the new members and reappointments on how long they have to get compliant if they're appointed to the board. Currently, it's 6 months. I want to take a look at that and see if we can tighten that down a little. Review the timeline for fingerprinting of new members. I believe there's no timeline right now. We want to kind of put one in there and talk about possibly having conditional appointments pending those background checks and fingerprints, as well as reappointments, and possibly discuss if when you're reappointed, if you should get re-background checked. Community engagement and awareness of the CPCRB, board's role and existence, just kind of making sure like that ties in with the next one of reviewing the website, the page, and what information is out there, both past, present, and future. I see some discrepancies on the web I want to just clean up and stuff like that. And then continuing our training, education, and code understanding for all the CPCRB members. And next slide, that's it. The very, very good year for the board, I believe. Thank you. The collaboration between everybody has just been great. I mean, the turnover, we were able to just keep going. The chief stepped in, appointed some really great people in his place as he was the lieutenant. And just the members, I believe we all have a better understanding of the board's role, which was really good to just peel back the training.
Thank you, Mike. Just stay up there for a minute. We have a liaison, so if we could hear from the deputy mayor, who's the liaison to this committee.
Absolutely. So I want to first thank Mike for his service as chair and for continuing as chair. Thank you so much, Mike. A lot of the coordination and discipline that you have in other areas of your life, from the fire department to other professional settings, you brought to the CPCRB. And so you're able to see that here with the quality of the training and ensuring that everything is up to date, so that the kinds of complaints that we've gotten, although the number has gone down, we can say with confidence that they've all been looked at very consistently. One of the things that I think is helpful to name with this particular group is that the bar is high for what folks on this committee, both the civilians and the police that are on there are expected to do. And that bar continues to get raised because, as the chair just said, we're looking to spread the word that this committee exists so that if people do have any kind of challenge with the police, they do have a method to be able to voice that challenge. But more than that, it's to be able to give feedback because a lot of what we are experiencing is that the complaint part of the civilian complaint review board is the piece that gets the most focus, but it's really a space to be able to voice, hey, here's what my experience has been. And a lot of times that experience can be positive, and there are elements also that can be negative, that can be improved. And so, in order to have a way for folks to know, hey, we want to know what you think, what your experience has been, that is only going to help. And we know that with leadership like Mike's as chair, with the folks that we have on the committee, we have a strong foundation to continue that move forward. We have a really strong police department. We have a community that has been very supportive of our local police department. And especially as there has been a lot of conversations this year, I think while we talk about what has happened, I think it's also helpful to talk about what has not happened, knock on whatever material this is. What has not happened is we're not talking about issues that are happening at the federal level happening here. We're not talking about issues that are happening in other states or other places happening here. And there's a reason. It's not magic. It's not luck. It's because of the work that is going in to groups like this every single day that the police is putting in, that the community is putting in. It takes an everyday effort to ensure that that is happening. So thank you to everybody that's involved with making this happen. And here's to a great 2026.
Thank you. Look, I'm not gonna say ditto, but I'm not gonna be redundant. Mike, like it's, chairs of these committees are very important. And I know you've put a lot of effort into it, and a lot of care and thoughtfulness because we've spoken a few times. So I appreciate that. The committees that we have throughout the village, we have about 13, are all important. And they all serve all different purposes. This one is, and they're all just sort of a little different, right? Like Parks and Rec, they do the environment as their goal. But I think this is interesting because it's really folks from our community interacting with the police. Some of the interaction is not about always the most positive things, and it's sensitive. So I think the more that we have people involved, actually, the better on all sides, and the relationship actually grows. I really appreciate all the work. And I seen that first piece that you brought everything up to par, which was a big discussion last year.
Yes.
Not everybody was up to par. It's not right. Like you've got to everybody's got to be at the standards that we have set up. So I really appreciate as chair, the work that you do. I asked Jamie if there are other folks from your committee, because sometimes there are. I just haven't heard back, but we will see momentarily.
There's none.
I'm sorry?
There aren't any.
Oh, okay. So sometimes, if they're
Mhm.
there, obviously I would bring them in as well. I'm going to start to the right, Dana, and then I'm going to move over to the folks here. If you have anything to add, you don't have to, but if you do.
I'd like to say thank you for I feel like I just saw you for LoSAP and here you are again. You're everywhere.
Popping up.
Oh, I don't know if this will take too long, but for the one complaint that you had, can you quickly say the process that you go through to vet that and to arrive at the conclusion you arrive at?
Yeah, it's very, very rigorous. It's first we'll receive the complaint, then it gets a number, and then the chief assigns it to the lieutenant who does an investigation. Once that's done, we read the complaint. We all meet at OPD and we start to discuss the findings, the narrative of the complaint. And then we just go into deliberation. We get to see body cam footage if we need to. We get to ask additional questions. The police representatives are there to inform us of their perspective. And that's where the training really comes in, getting to use the VR goggles, getting to see this instance was a police traffic stop. So having the training and seeing some of the traffic stops and how they can be seen in 3 different lenses from 3 different people was really, really helpful. And then we just go and we, as a board, we see if anybody has to abstain, if they know anybody, it's a local town. If nobody does, then we all stay in and the police representatives drop off while we vote and we take a vote on what we feel the outcome should be. And then we recommend it to the chief and the chief either disagrees, sends it back to us or agrees, in this case, agreed.
Okay, thanks.
Yes.
Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry, Pat, sorry.
I'll be quick. Just so thanks again for the volunteer service. And I think it's fantastic that we have a collaborative body like this, working within the village. I think that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. Looking forward to the cleanup in 2026 and keep up the good work. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for your trust in me.
Thanks,
Appreciate it.
Mike. Say thank you on our behalf to the team as well,
I will.
the
Thank you.
committee, and to the police officers who are obviously part of the committee as well. Did you want to say so? I saw you go leaning in. I don't know if that's, you're just shrugging your shoulders or you want to say something?
I would say, I didn't know if it was on my place or not to speak.
You want to
Sure.
start with his report as the first report?
No, I think if he has something about this, he
No,
could
I
say it.
just,
He was mentioned a few times in it.
no, I just wanted to, thank Mike for taking over his role in chair. It's a tough job, and having been closely involved in this committee really for the past 7+ years, I know how much work it actually is, for the police, for the committee, for the chair, doing this training and making sure all the i's are crossed, or t's are crossed and the i's are dotted, with the help from Stuart, with a lot of the legal stuff. It's a lot of work, and it's very time consuming, and this is a volunteer committee and the members on it, it is, it's not as easy said than done. So there are a lot of hours for people that are volunteering to do this and go into it. And I think, Mike being part of this, he brought a level of professionalism. He was proactive and very objective through the whole process because, it is something that we take very seriously in the police department. And I think the biggest aspect of it is the training that goes into it for the civilian side of things is, you really do have to be brought up to speed on policy, procedure, law. It's not all personal subjective opinion. Everything is very objective, and it's governed by code and by state statute and law. So it is a lot of work for the civilians to kind of come up to speed with that and really get this job done. So I want to thank Mike, thank the members of the board, and thank the police officers involved, and Omar and Stuart for it's a good year.
Great, really appreciate it. Okay.
Okay, administrative reports, village manager Karen Dottori.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Good evening, everybody. Just a brief report tonight. One, I would like to reappoint Jason Sia to the Historic Preservation Committee for a term ending December 31st to 2030. And I would also like to notice.
Did you say 2030?
I did. The 5-year term. We are 5 years, and it will be 2030. And then Isaac Tahara, who is an alternate on the HPC, unfortunately really has not been able to attend meetings, and we've had a little bit of a challenge even getting reaching him. So we are complimentary resignation for Isaac. But we will, if his work and life changes and he can attend meetings, we'll consider that going forward. So we will have an open position for an alternate with a term ending for 2029. Just a little reminder, the holidays are upon us, and the village will be closing at 12 p.m. on December 24th, and will be closed all day on December 25th. And also we'll be closing at 12 p.m. on December 31st and closed all day on January 1st. But on January 1st, we will be open at the community center at 12 p.m. We will have the inauguration of newly elected officers for village, town, and county. And
It's really the village and as a
is
county.
anybody
No, she
county?
did- is it
No,
county
she's running next year, so.
No, she just ran. No. it
No,
isn't.
this just to run 2 years in a row. So
Years in a row.
yeah.
So the answer is yes.
Yeah.
Okay, village, town,
They
and
all,
county.
they all have to run.
And,
Nothing.
so it'll be village, town, and county this year, but everyone is welcome to that celebration. And really, we're just working on closing out the year here at the village. We're all pretty busy. Everything is in sort of motion right now. So all of our major projects are in various terms of progress. About a third of the way through on the Indian Brook Water Treatment Plant. Multimodal site, we should start doing the precast early next year, and that job hopefully will be done in about 12 months from now, thereabouts. And we'll be looking to go out to bid probably mid-January, late January for the design renovations and design of the community center, and we will be scheduling time for board members as well as the Recreation Advisory Board to look at some of the materials that are being proposed, finishes for the building, and we will have a work session to just give an update and have a resolution to discuss a resolution to go out to bid, and then the resolution we would probably have on the agenda for the last legislative session in January.
No
Thank
comments?
you.
Corporation Counsel, Stuart Kahn.
Thank you, Sue. Good evening, folks. We have a resolution on tonight to approve 9 cabaret licenses. That does not get done without the work of starting with the clerk's office, going to police, building, finance, and to some extent Corporation Counsel, but all the others really play major, major roles. We have, through the work of all those departments, been able to get the businesses to basically follow our procedures. We now ask them to, whether their method of operation that they file with the state liquor authority has changed. We require copies of their licenses. Their licenses issued by the village will conclude when their SLA license concludes. But none of this gets done without the interaction of all the different departments. And, Maddie, I thank her for basically getting all of us in a room to just sort of go over lists after lists. But this has probably been a very smooth year to this point. And that is really to the credit of really the folks who are in this room. Dave, who's up there, and the building department, Greg Gross in particular, for conducting all of those inspections and getting the folks, on the right path. So thanks to all of them. One other note, I had the parking calendar on December 8th. This is not a parking tip. This is actually a shout out and thank you. About 3 o'clock that afternoon, when I was in court reviewing parking tickets, I got a call from Judge Levitt that the person who usually does the translating for me was not available that night. Did I know anyone else? I called my handy dandy, wonderful clerk, and she gave me the name of Jessica Salinas, who used to work in the clerk's office and now works for the assessor. Jessica immediately said yes. Got to the court at 5:45. She stayed till 8 o'clock. She was a gem. It is the only way to describe it. I don't speak Spanish fluently, so I can't say, but everyone who spoke Spanish, and to be honest, that's usually 80% of the people who are in parking court. I need the interpreter. She's very open with them. She went back and forth. She explained the rules to them in terms of if there's no sign, you don't park there overnight, to make it very clear. But I just wanted to thank her publicly. I've already thanked her through Liz Feldman and others because she didn't have to do it, to be perfectly honest. She came there, she did it, and she basically saved us an immense amount of time because had she not been there, the person who acts as the judge's translator would have had to shuttle back and forth. It probably would have extended the court session by 60 to 90 minutes. So instead of ending at about 8 o'clock, we would have been there till probably 9:30. She really was an immense, immense help. And I'm hopeful that as we go on, should we need someone on other occasions, she will be available. But I must tell you, it was wonderful. She was very personable. Everyone seemed to like her. She helped me go through the 135-page calendar with ease. So my thanks to her because she made that night much easier. Thanks.
Thank you, Stuart.
Okay, Police Chief Aaron Zimmerman.
Ooh, stand up for this one, because. Listen, I want to be able to look at this. We put a little presentation for kind of some of our year-end stuff going on for you guys. I'll wait for Jamie. So, sort of a year in review for the OPD. Not sort of, it is. You're in review for the OPD. So we've put together a list of statistics and numbers for you guys, comparative over the years, and also, you know, for this year up until this point, we don't really have the end of the month because we haven't gotten there yet. So, you know, some of the numbers might be off a little bit. You'll get the gist. All right, Jamie, you can hit it. Oh, yeah, fancy.
We raised the bar.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
We've got good people. You know, I brought with me my captain and my 4 lieutenants, not as a show of force, but you know, if anyone has any questions in their area of expertise, you know, I'm very confident in their ability to explain things better than I can in certain areas because they deal with it every day and I do not. So, you know, probably one of the best things you can do as a leader is surround yourself with the right people. And that's what I try to do to the best of my ability. And that's why they're here tonight. So we'll start from the top, very basic blotter entries for the year. Year to date for 2025, we had 30,944 blotter entries. And that in essence boils down to a call for service. Anytime you require police services, it generates a call for service. And that at its basic level is a blotter entry. Jamie, if you click on that blotter entry, take blotter entries for 30,000, Jamie.
Wow.
So if you look over
I'm
the
just gonna
past,
have to stop you. You understand the next year.
I completely understand.
You guys better.
Karen, we saw your slideshow last week, and
The only person.
you know, hold my beer.
Here, two people are going, oh, man,
You know.
it's on.
So if you look since 2016, you can see a little, you know, some of the calls for service fluctuate a little bit, but they stay
I just
relatively.
want to ask, a call for service means that police actually have to go do whatever they do?
Yes.
Or is it a complaint? There's the difference between I call, there's a complaint, the person explains and all that, that's a different kind.
No, if you call and you get the desk officer or a dispatcher
Right.
and you just ask them a question on the phone and it's kind of handled in that fashion,
Right.
that doesn't generate a blotter number or a call
Got it.
for service.
Okay.
This is in our records management system.
Yes.
In essence, it generates a report number.
Okay, so it's, all right,
So
so the
if
number of calls you get is going to be larger than that number.
Yes,
Okay.
significantly larger.
Okay.
And
Good.
we don't really track that right now
That's
because
okay, I'm just asking the questions to have a
Sure.
sense of sizing, that's
Yeah.
all.
Yep.
Thank you.
So, yeah. So this
Thank
is
you.
where a cop actually is
Yeah,
dispatched
understood.
and goes somewhere.
Got it.
So if you look at this month, kind of some months fluctuate differently than others, just usually because of one, weather and time of year, really. We typically are a little bit slower through the colder months, and the warmer months we're a little bit busier. Yeah, knock on wood. But year over year, you see some of the numbers fluctuate a little bit. And if you look, you know, probably our lowest dips in those numbers were, you know, through probably end of 19, 20, and 21 during the pandemic, where we probably had the least amount of police activity, right? So, Jamie, if you hit the, yeah, just hit the right arrow, Jamie. Thank you. So this is if you graph it out over the year, you know, you look at that bar graph or that graph there, you can see there's quite a significant dip in February that increases again. When we first saw that, we kind of racked our heads a little bit of why that was. And then, you know, Lieutenant Majorana brought up that we actually changed our patrol philosophy in that month.
Oh,
And that dip in generated calls for service dipped down because previously we would do a lot of premise checks and checks of areas. And, you know, if a cop went and did a premise check of a park or a school or a place of business or got out and walked, that they would generate a call for service for that. They would generate a blotter number for that call for service. And what we did was go to more of a high visibility patrol model where we put the cops where the people are the most. So instead of having, you know, I don't want to say it's a waste of resources, but instead of during the day when probably nobody's there anyway, having a cop check an area of town that's so remote and nobody's there, let's keep that officer in the middle of town where they're the most visible and the most people around. So they weren't generating some of those self-initiated numbers, and that dipped. And then we, after we initiate that, we kind of suss out some of the chinks, and then it fluctuates back to normal. And then you kind of see that steady dip that kind of coincides with coming out of the summer months and into this time of year right there where it lowers.
I do also want to point out that on the average is 300 a day, because if you
Yeah.
average at 3,000, February is always the shortest month, except once in 4 years.
Yep.
So I think you're going to see the lowest always, because it's short 2 days on the average, and the rest of the month,
Yeah.
that's like 600 fewer, just statistically.
Well, if you go to, Jamie, if you go to the next slide,
You're going to see February different?
yeah,
Okay.
boom.
Oh,
So
so it
that's
evens out.
24, 23, 22. So they stay
Okay.
sort of level. And you see a little dip in those months.
Yeah, yeah.
but
All right.
You look at this year compared to other years, you see that drastic, sort of anomaly. And we had to scratch our heads to figure out why, but figured it out.
Nice.
Next slide, please, Jamie. I feel like Joe Rogan. Jamie, bring that up on the computer. I get it.
We've tried like people doing it themselves, but honestly, this is the most efficient.
So if you, we broke this down into a nice visual pie chart to break down the categories of our calls for service that are our most frequent. Obviously, V&T investigations, which are car stops, are the most prevalent. Then larceny, domestic dispute, fraud, suspicious incident, DWI, motor vehicle accidents, missing persons, disturbances, DOAs, and then burglary. So if you look at that, DWI obviously is V&T related, but those are DWI arrests specific, and V&T investigations relate more to traffic tickets that do not result in a DWI arrest.
And what's the difference between burglary and larceny?
Very good question. Larceny and burglary are similar. Burglary is you enter and remain unlawfully inside of a premises for the purpose of to commit a crime. You don't actually have to steal something, but you break into some place to do an assault. That's a burglary. A larceny is a property crime where you actually steal something with a monetary value. So sort of used interchangeably sometimes, if to the lay people.
I
So
have to say that I'm sure you don't get all the domestic dispute calls that exists. It's probably one of those very sensitive areas.
this is
It
true.
just still feels like 65 seems like still quite a bit. I don't know if that's a high number for a community our size or not, but it makes me sad.
Well,
The
that's
rest is,
that's
I get
definitely
that
not
the rest is
all the
not
domestic
great either.
disputes. Those are the domestic disputes that result in arrest.
Those are just the ones that result in
Criminal
arrest.
cases. Yeah.
Oh, now I'm even sadder.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you seen that number go up? You
Uh,
guys seen that?
yes.
Okay.
Sometimes that number does fluctuate, but it's unfortunately it's one of our higher volumes of calls for service. And as the captain pointed out, these are case categories. So a case for us, for the purpose when you go from a blotter and you generate a case, there's a crime involved. So all of these numbers there's a crime involved in that, where a blotter typically there doesn't have to be a crime involved in
Right.
the generation of that.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you for doing this, by the way. I don't think I've ever seen it laid out so specifically and so clearly. So this, I think, is very helpful.
Jamie wouldn't let us put the music on. Just
No.
kidding.
No, seriously, I think this is, people say lots of stuff to us. Oh, there's a lot of crime. Oh, shooting, like they say all sorts of stuff, but this actually gives some data that says, okay, this is something to work with.
Pat, you have something?
Yeah, just real quick. I
Yep.
understand the difference between the blotter and a case category. In the blotter, is there a similar sort of standardized categorization of what kind of a blotter entry it is?
Yes. Once a blotter is generated, there's a drop down menu, so to speak, of what category that blotter is, whether it's a parking complaint, a noise complaint, and the report of an assault, a fire, an alarm call, motor vehicle accident, domestic dispute. So the blotter has its own designation of what that call for service is. And then once you respond to that call and do some police work, whether or not there's a crime involved, and it will escalate where you have to generate a case report. That's the next level. So if you want to tier our records management reporting, everything has a blotter, not everything has a case. And after a case, if there's an arrest made, there's an arrest report. So there's three main categories: blotter, case, arrest.
Okay, and then my second question, just so I can help understand the hierarchy a little bit, and maybe
Yep.
you're gonna get there. Can there be multiple cases for a single blotter entry?
There can, but it would all, it's
really small.
Yeah, just because of the way the crime reporting works, and depending on if it's a singular incident on a different date, that would have to generate another case, or if it's another incident at a different location. Yep. Next slide, please. All right, so this is cases by month for this year. You see in January is sort of a slower time into February, and like it trends up in the warmer months. You see it peak up, and then tails off. So this is, just our case stats for the year in a different visual form.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Next slide, Jim. All right, we get into arrests. So far, year to date, we've made 579 arrests. Okay, out of that number, driving with a suspended driver's license is our top arrest, which is 204. DWI 68. We've had 52 assault arrests, public consumption of alcohol 47, larceny 26, and reckless driving 10. Those are all misdemeanor or lower. Public consumption of alcohol is a village code. It's a violation. If you go to the right there, our top felony driving with a suspended driver's license, which is aggravated unlicensed operation, what raises to a felony. So either usually you have a prior DWI conviction, or you have more than a certain amount of suspensions in a certain amount of time frame. Felony criminal mischief, then felony assault, grand larceny, and then possession of stolen property.
What's in the parentheses? What is AUO1 apostrophe?
AUO first. AUO stands for aggravated unlicensed operation.
Oh, okay.
In the first
Thank you.
degree, and that's a felony.
Okay.
If it's second degree or third degree, it's a misdemeanor. Next slide, Jamie. So if you look at the trends, assault cases are down 6.4% from last year. Disturbance calls down 11.8% from 23. And DWI cases are actually down 40%. It's quite a significant number.
I'm curious why you think they've gone down that much. I have a hypothesis. I'm happy to say my hypothesis first. I mean, you probably know the answer. My hypothesis is that it corresponds with the action we've taken with respect to the establishments in the community that serve alcohol after dark.
Your scientific method is good. Yes, your hypothesis is correct.
I'm done.
We saw quite a significant trend down in DWI arrest after the closing of our nuisance establishments in town. Disturbances as well. That's much to the credit of Captain Donahue and the staff. Yeah. So
I'm still applauding.
yeah. And yeah, these nuisance establishments, aside from generating quite a lot of DWI activity, disturbances, assaults, late night crime, anything happy, that kept the cops busy after 4 a.m. because, like your mother always said, nothing good happens after midnight, and it was definitely true. Now, whether it's they're Ubering, they're just not going out, to us, it doesn't matter, but it's less drunk drivers on the road. And it actually allows the cops to do other cop stuff without getting bogged down with, although they are significantly important, probably the best arrest you can make is arresting someone for DWI. The frequency of it was keeping us from doing other things that were very important as well. So, all of that combined, good for the village. Next slide, please. Traffic summonses, everyone's favorite topic. So traffic activity for the year. You know, coming off the holidays, a little hot, you know, kind of trends down there. And again, as the warmer months pick up, and truth be told, sometimes in February in the midnights, there's not a lot of cars out there. So, you know, those are the ticket trends for the year. Next slide, please. DW arrests for the year, 68 DWI arrests, January through November. So as you can see, those numbers are pretty significant.
Are those all different people?
Yes. Yeah. 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 Yes, we're not. The
It's
rest
not
is
like one guy
no,
68
no,
times.
no, no. No, yes, they're all different people.
They do have frequent flyers though. Right?
Yeah, some of the people we arrest for DWI have been arrested before, have been arrested by us before. You know, if you have, just for people's education, if you have 2 DWI convictions within 10 years, it's an automatic felon. So
Oh, so that puts you into if you get arrested the third time, you're put into the felony case, yeah?
second,
Second time, you're in the felony column.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Next slide. And this is going back to 2019 through now, so the past 5 years. Obviously, the COVID years pretty low.
Yeah.
We trend up, and if you notice, when the bar started to shut down, that's when you see that dip down. Yeah. Next slide, please. All right. We're getting to our staffing and training category here. So as a department, we trained a total of 13,504 hours so far this year. That's an average of 260 hours per officer. And if you want to, and we've lost no officers this year to transfer or retirement. So we've had, I guess, 100% retention for the past year, which is great. Jamie, if you hit the next button, please. The national average for training for a police department is 22 hours
For what?
per cop
Per year?
per year.
22 hours?
22 hours a year is a national average for a police department for training for their officers. We have 260. So
I just want to me, 22 hours just doesn't seem like a lot.
It's
Like,
not.
almost for any job. I mean, that requires like physical
Yep.
and human interaction, right? So do you have an average for New York State or for Westchester? Is it higher, or is it just, I mean, this is amazing. I'm not
yeah,
putting this
Jamie, hit
number
the next.
down.
There's another.
Oh, okay, then I'll wait. I'll wait.
Okay, the New York State mandate
Oh, it's
is 40 hours a year for in-service training.
Okay.
And if you want to break, yeah,
Yep.
that was a good one. So just to show you some of the things that we do train every officer in every year is right there. So AI for law enforcement, that's not internal investigations, that's, you know, AI trend of the year. Bloodborne pathogens, chemical defense spray, computer crimes, constitutional law, CPR, defensive tactics, domestic violence response, felony stops, FBI National Academy Associates leadership training for our executive level officers, forensic interviews of children, interview and interrogation for detectives, sidearm proficiency, which is firearms training, legal updates, property management, response to endangered children, response to juvenile delinquency, rifle proficiency, social media for law enforcement, stop the bleed, tourniquet training, SWAT and sniper marksmanship, SWAT training, tactical combat casualty response, which is stop the bleeding, taser proficiency, virtual reality de-escalation scenarios, and warrant and affidavit writing training. So if it's cop related, we're training it, and we're training the people that, you know, check those boxes to do that training. And one thing that I think we can hang our hat on, we're not just training patrolmen to do patrol level things. We're training all the ranks, supervisory ranks, investigative ranks, executive level ranks throughout. Because there's no, you know, can't stop learning. It doesn't matter what rank or what job you do. And that's that's one thing I think we can hang our hat on as a department that we probably, I would say we train more than any department in Westchester County, and it shows because as Mike pointed out, all this training leads to fewer civilian complaints, leads to fewer uses of force. And if there is a use of force scenario, it's a correct application of that use of force. And we're only going to continue that into the future. So it's something that we find, or I hold very high on the importance scale, and the guys sitting behind me do as well. And it's one thing that we're all kind of unified on is, you know, raising the bar for training just raises the bar for the whole entire agency. So
Out of all of those things, I'm sure you've seen changes over the past, you've been with us for 20 years, right? Or 22, 21?
just starting 23.
23, sorry.
Go
Oh,
on.
when we interviewed you, it was 20. That's
sorry?
right. Right, when we interviewed you, we would
Yep.
talk about, okay, so 23 years. Out of all of that, I'm sure there's some, I don't know, maybe it's the next slide, I don't know. But what do you see in the last couple of years and going into the next 2 to 5 years? Out of those topics, what is the thing that's changed the most, that needs the most attention as far as training?
I think probably the trend that I've seen the most probably in the last 20 years, and I think everyone sitting behind me could speak to the same thing, is just the nature of our work has gotten so expansive, especially in the last 10 years or so, that the police are being asked to do more things and kind of be masters in more domains than just writing tickets, driving, shooting, arresting people, things like that. And, CPR, first aid, there's everything is data driven now. Everything we're doing is, with probably the next trend you're going to see is how artificial intelligence can be used in law enforcement with the application of body cams and other cameras and report writing and using AI to actually collect data that we actually need. As you saw in one of the things we put forth was the software programs that we, applied for with this budget cycle was, we collect so much data now. That's probably been one of the biggest changes over the last 20 years is the data retention and the data that we collect, and then using that efficiently and appropriately, and using some of these software programs to really cut to the chase of what we're trying to do and be more efficient with our use of manpower. That's probably the biggest change in law enforcement. And then, also to officer accountability, the body cams, and then, de-escalation, obviously, and also officer, mental health and well-being, kind of making sure that everyone realizes that, cops are people too, and they do a tough job, and, we got to take care of them.
That's great. I also just in the overall, and maybe it's coming up or maybe it's just a different thing. We have the mental health unit, and when they started, people had different opinions, but I think overall it seems, based on our conversations, that it's working out nicely. They're headquartered with you guys. Do their calls and their processes and them going out with the police, does that show up in these statistics somewhere in the data that you're presenting tonight? Like how-
Specifically, no.
Okay,
I would have to look at the calls for service where they're requested and kind of extrapolate that from the rest of the calls for service.
great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Jamie, next. So what we're looking forward to the next year, maintaining our elite level of legal procedure and practical training, advance the goal of training in all officers in jiu-jitsu. I like to call that hands-on de-escalation. Implement an executive briefing dashboard providing insight into the OPD data-driven policing model into our elected officials, and roll out public data sharing program providing local policing data and activity to the community. So those are our, 4 of our goals for next year moving forward. So
Great.
next slide, Jamie. I think that wraps it up. So, yep, that's it. So,
This is great.
any other questions on anything or?
Yeah,
comments?
I have one before I forget it and before everybody else goes. First of all, thank you. This is
Problem.
great. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Very much appreciated, and I'm sure others will have more to say. So the mental health unit for next year, if we can coordinate, or they can report on their own. They don't report to us.
Yeah.
But I think it's one of the big things that some
Yeah.
people were a little skeptical of, but I think generally now people are like, this is actually a good thing, and it is part of policing. It's like you said, your jobs have really widened in scope, so it's sort of interesting to look at that. And the other thing is um, the different leveling and the kind, I mean, this is a lot of hours of training, and we do the budgets, so we know that we spend a lot on training because it's part of the budgets and not all the municipalities do. But I think it would be great to like become best in class in some things and sort of delineate some of the successful pieces that we're really the best at. Like this, I can extrapolate, but next year it would be great to say we are the best, we have the most hours in an important way. It's not about having the most hours, it's about productive hours. And some of these, the mental health and how, that group does, and then where there are areas for improvement, because we'll have an opportunity to go to the county and say, like, here are the stats, here's the data, and we need more here. Like, it's hard, like, we can't do that right now, except to say we all know it's great. So it would be really appreciated if that gets added in. I noticed there was nothing about animal safety stuff in any of the data. We do have some people that do ask once in a while. So for next year, maybe about animal control. It's a little bit of adjacent to this. This is the core, and this is fantastic. So I don't want to diminish how great this is, this presentation. I'm just bringing up a few little on the margin kind of things that might be helpful in the future if you guys are able to do it. So I don't want you to read into it like, oh, we missed that. You didn't miss
No, we
anything.
actually made,
This is more just like, wouldn't it be nice if we could also see that at the end of next year?
sure, yeah. First thing, I'll definitely talk to David and see, I'm sure he keeps stats on some of the stuff that they're involved in.
We did, Chief. They just weren't able to get us the data that we were requesting.
No worries.
See, that's why I brought it.
Yeah, well, we see Donahue's name all over this. Let's.
Yeah.
We see you.
For sure.
Keeping it very different from ours, so they weren't able.
No worries.
Yeah.
Again, I'm really now on the margins
Yeah,
here, just
and
like,
Because they operate a catchment, it was very hard for them to separate Osmond's data from the entire catchment.
Of course. And that brings me to the next thing. There are two items that I know you guys do a lot of. Every time an ambulance is called somewhere, police cars go. I'm curious, is like, and we have 6 senior facilities, and every time they call, a police car is out there. Where does that fit into any of this data? Is that like a
Medical aids.
medical aid?
Yeah.
And that was a category there?
Yeah.
Okay,
In
I
the
missed.
slides
Okay.
for the blotter activity of medical
Okay.
aid, that's the call for service where the ambulances are involved.
Okay.
Where either we respond to a nursing home or someone's private residence or
any of that,
Yeah,
that's the
any man down,
category
yeah.
there?
Yeah, but to your
Okay.
point, we also we made the decision not to include someone like the civilian personnel side of this and kept it all police, where the civilian side being animal control, there was no parking ticket numbers,
Yeah,
but.
we get that separately anyway.
Yeah,
so
yeah, Stuart does a great job of
We
keeping.
get the
stats
foils
up to speed.
separately.
Yeah, foils, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
I don't think these stats are to say we're justifying what police officers do in the village and town, because you support, and I don't read it that way at all.
no, I think.
This is like
we wanted-
data to make decisions, data to
Sure.
understand.
And also,
Yeah.
we wanted to share what we really do,
Yeah.
I don't, I don't want to use the term, pulling the curtain back a little bit, but we wanted to highlight some of the great
Sure.
work that we do here and the officers that serve the community do. I say this all the time that, everybody at the OPD makes my job easy, from the patrolmen to the detectives to the sergeants, and then the command staff, these guys, they make my job easy. So none of this would be possible without them. So it's 100% team effort.
But
Yeah.
I appreciate
No
that.
problem.
The last thing that I would ask and it doesn't have to be in an annual, it could just be at some point. You do a lot of work with other police departments, right? Like you have calls and others are supposed to help us when we need them.
Yeah,
correct?
we have mutual aid agreements.
Right,
with
so
them.
the mutual aid agreements could be done as a separate topic, but I personally, like once in 5 years, I'd like to see, I don't need this, I really would like to understand how that all works together. Just to see who's helping whom and how that works on behalf of all of our constituents. So I'm gonna
Yeah.
go this time to my left. I don't need an answer.
Oh, yes, sometimes
I'd
that's a
just
little
be
harder. 'cause it
curious at some
fluctuates.
point.
Yeah.
That's all. It doesn't, I'm not trying to overload.
No,
I would just be curious. Bob, may I start with you?
Yeah, Chief, great job on the presentation. I know you did work very hard on it personally, but no, that's great.
I can't take any credit.
In the 6 years I've been here, that's the first time I've had something shown to me like that, and I could appreciate that. Thank you.
No problem. Yeah.
Same, thank you very much. I think it's great data. I think it's also good to see impact of activities that have been taken, address what did you call it, the nuisance activities, right?
Yeah.
And I think there was some very specific causality there, which I think is good, and it's like directionally that's where we want to be headed, to eliminate stuff like that. So one, great job, and one, identifying issues, and then two, like doing something about it, right? And so I think that's fantastic. And then I personally, I think sharing the full sort of blotter data piece, I think would be interesting, because it's a funnel, right? And there are potential precursors, other trends potentially that could indicate future things. Like that's the kind of thing that AI could be used to look at that stuff at the time. Right? That's just an interesting thing for the future, but great job. Yep.
Thanks. I'm going to go Deputy Mayor.
Thank you. I echo my colleagues. The one thing that wasn't in the presentation that I'm curious about is, as you think about recruitment, whether it's the work that happens in the community to actually recruit officers, or the school resource officers that build relationships with students that ultimately grow up to become people that could become police officers. If you could just speak a little bit to kind of the state of recruitment and how you're thinking about it.
Well, to be quite honest, we kind of let it speak for itself. I think that the OPD puts out an excellent product, and I think that aside from the people in the community that live here that actually get to see it firsthand and what we're doing, and the more we promote what we're doing and getting the word out of how great this place is, also it's starting to resonate throughout the county. And I know when I got hired that this was one of the best jobs in Westchester to work, and it had that reputation. And things fluctuate, and I think we're getting back to that point now where we're kind of getting a buzz about it, where whether it be the training that we do, the equipment that we have, the policies that we keep, it's a great place to work. And I think that's starting to resonate. And the fact that we haven't had anybody leave for another agency in quite some time speaks for itself. And the influx of resumes that we're getting and responses to canvas letters that we're getting when we are looking to fill a position, it's fantastic. It speaks for itself. So I don't know specifically, I can't tell you anything we're doing specifically to kind of promote that, other than just kind of the proof is in the pudding.
Yeah, that's helpful. The other piece, and this is to the extent that you know it, you provided really helpful information that compared what we're doing now and how that compares over the years, comparing ourselves to ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious, if you compare Ossining to other communities in the county, are there any categories that are noteworthy for being higher or lower in terms of the kinds of crimes or anything like that?
Honest answer, I don't know. We would have to gather that information from the other agencies specifically.
Mhm.
There's not really a database that has that information in it that kind of boils it down to certain levels. I know other than training, we do a lot of training. And thankfully that this community, the job that Ossining is, it's in the police world, it's a misdemeanor job. We don't have a lot of, felony street level activities. As you can see, a lot of our arrests are traffic generated.
Mhm.
We're not responding to a lot of assaults, robberies, things like that, that you might see in some of the bigger cities that are a little more densely populated. But we are a very busy job. So that is interesting. I would like to kind of know that myself, apples to other police agencies that are comparable
Mhm.
to us. I know our biggest comparison job is probably Portchester.
Right.
And I think our calls for service probably mirror theirs, almost probably within tens. But I can find out for sure and kind of get that information back to you.
Yeah,
You know,
that'd be
around our
helpful.
surrounding communities, I know we're very, we're a lot busier than Briarcliff, a lot busier than Croton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if there are things, for example, like if I lived in Portchester and somebody shared this presentation with me and I saw that 40% reduction, I'd go, whoa, that's really impressive. That's something
Yeah.
maybe we want to do here. So I'm curious if there's something that's happening over there that I'm like, wow, look at what they're doing. Let's do
Yeah.
something like that here.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
No
That's
problem.
that for me.
Thank you. I loved it. I have two questions. One is, can you tell me more about this dashboard for elected officials that you mentioned at the end? What is that like? We can log in and see what's going on with numbers or?
Pretty much. It'll be something a little bit more kind of tailored to your eyes only.
Right.
Completely honest, something a little bit for executive sessions, things like that, where we can break down some more of this information a little bit more intimately and give you, data on different things that you want to know.
No, I love that idea because I actually am always very curious about that.
Yeah.
And the other thing is we're going to be adding apartments and living quarters and a lot more, people coming to live here. Will you need more police officers for those people?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's gonna say no.
No.
It was less.
Yeah, that's something that, that's a conversation that, I'll be continuing with the board as we move forward and stuff like that and trying to figure out the best way to do that and still be responsible to the community and the taxpayer.
That was a softball. You're a journalist. I loved it. It's like, here you go. Look, we talked about this. We talked about doing a 3-year plan. We understand what we're doing. We talked to some communities don't want to add housing. This is one of the reasons. Everything adds, whether it's police, sanitation. We've talked about it. The board members have talked about it. It's got to be done intelligently. It's not a free for all. And as we know, rental units versus houses, single residences are very different structures, require very different environments. And the revenue stream from taxation is very different, that generates revenue. And we understand that. We have been looking at this for years, and I think we're good with it. We just got to plan for it. We just got to move it, so we know this.
You're almost fully staffed.
They are.
For the first time in a long time?
We have one vacancy that we're looking to fill.
I mean, that's
amazing.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
We were way down, as I
Yep.
recall,
Oh, it's great.
when I started.
Yeah, it's
So-
15% down.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay, well, listen, this was amazingly helpful. We were actually not expecting to see this tonight. So we appreciate it. Pleasant surprise. I think I can speak for everybody. We always say that it's okay to talk about policing nationally. It's good to speak about neighboring municipalities, Westchester County, downstate, upstate, blah, 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 blah. What matters to us as elected officials and the people who look at budgets and figure out the strategy is Ossining. The police department does both the town, and this is all town and village numbers, yeah? Okay,
Correct. Yep.
because it's what you guys do, so it includes the town. I just want to make that clear, and we understand that. So that's about 38,000 people that occupy that space, and plus all the people that go through here, use our parks, travel through. That's another who knows how many. I certainly don't. So it's a lot of people. So we appreciate it. And we always go back to, we worry about Ossining, and that's what this presentation is about. We really appreciate it.
No problem.
Thank you to everybody sitting here, and the staff folks that also do the foils is no laughing matter either, and that's a big thing too. So thank you, and we'll see what happens by next year, but
Yeah. All right. Thanks, guys. Thank you, Jamie.
thanks, everybody.
Okay, moving on. Organizational announcements. Announcements shall be event related only and shall be no longer than 2 minutes in length. Is there anyone?
I don't think
Turn
there's
around.
any.
There's no one in the virtual audience with their hand up.
No one put their hand up?
No.
Moving on to Public comment on agenda items. Visitors are accorded a 4-minute opportunity to address the board and any of the resolutions on the agenda. Is there anyone here that wants to do that? Seeing no one here, how about in our virtual world?
No.
Okay. Okay, visitor recognition. Shall be accorded a 3-minute opportunity to address the board on issues set not relating to the agenda, but of relevance to the common good of the village. Is there anyone here that wishes to do that?
No.
Okay, moving on to agenda items. Village Board resolutions, approval of minutes, December 3rd, 2025. Resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining hereby approves the minutes of the December 3rd, 2025 regular meeting as presented. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yep. Either of us got. Approval of the voucher detail report, December 17th, 2025. Resolved, the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining hereby approves the voucher detail report dated December 17th, 2025 in the amount of $7,572,201.73. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Comments, Dale, are you on to discuss this unusually large amount? I think the board though knows, so I just need quick headlines, not big, just to memorialize it for the record. What
Sure,
the payouts were, please.
absolutely. Good evening, Mayor and Board. On this voucher detail report, some outliers that are just an annual payment were for our New York State employee retirement system annual invoice, as well as the New York State retirement system, police and fire retirement system bill. So basically for that 7.5 million, about 4.5 million was just for those annual costs. We do get a discount by paying by December 15th, which we did, versus February 1st. It's probably about a $70,000 savings to pay it early. So it helps a little bit in offsetting the costs. We did have some capital project larger payments coming through at year end for the police radio project and the fire radio replacement project, both totaling about 900,000. Costs for the multimodal transportation hub, about 1.2, and we also included our fourth quarter Medicare reimbursement on this voucher detail report, totaling $65,675. So a lot of cleanup, along with the IMA payments to the town for the fourth quarter, totaling I think that was about 77,000. So yes, a very, very busy voucher detail report for this round.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sue?
All in favor?
Aye.
Approval of IBWPTP voucher detail report, December 17th, 2025. Resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining hereby approves the voucher detail report dated December 17th, 2025 in the amount of $1,769,577.05. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Dale, you want to tell me what IBWTP stands for?
Water plant.
So water treat.
Yes,
Right.
Indian
All right,
Brook water
I
treatment.
know, and you just like for the record, my God.
So,
Okay, thank you.
very good. Thanks.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain?
Abstain.
Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Resolution D, resolution approving 2026. Sure. Resolution approving 2026 cabaret licenses in the Village of Ossining. Resolved that pursuant to the code, the Board of Trustees hereby approves 2026 cabaret licenses for the following businesses: Sing Sing Hill Brewery, 75 Spring Street; Tierras Tropicales Restaurant, 84 Croton Avenue; Richie's Kitchen, 147 Main Street; Grace Hall, 7 Old Albany Post Road; Ossining Rest LLC, DBA 3 Westerly Road; Up the River Restaurant, DBA The Boathouse, 46 Westerly Road; Karma Lounge, 175 Main Street, Ossining; Ossining Elks Lodge, 1486, 118 Croton Avenue; and Caribe Sports Bar, DBA Siri 031 Sports Bar, 84 Croton Avenue. Be it further resolved that licensee shall ensure that the licensing officer receives copies of current licenses issued by the New York State Liquor Authority, and that the failure to provide current licenses will result in suspension and/or revocation of the license along with a referral to the New York State Liquor Authority. And be it further resolved that the licensee shall comply with the conditions noted in their respective cabaret licenses. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Just a comment. Number one, there is a typo for the Elks Lodge. It's 6 p.m. until 11, not 111 dot.
Oh.
Just a typo, so if that could be corrected.
Yes.
I thought that the Carib, was it Carib or one of them that we said we're doing a 6 months, or is that something else?
That is it, but it's not in this resolution. It is in their license.
So it doesn't have to be here, is what
No.
you're saying. Got
But
it.
that's matching their SLA, correct?
They're all
They're-
matching their
well,
best.
yes,
They're
but
all-
first of all, their SLA expires in February.
Right.
And then, but it
So it
provides in that
actually goes
license
into it.
that it cannot go further than June the 30th under any circumstance.
So the timing, the length is not in the resolution because it doesn't have to be. This is,
No,
okay.
this is just who's getting it and the times they'll be operating.
And every single establishment has on their cabaret license and their refreshment license for the police. A very extensive details as to what they're allowed to do and what they're not allowed to do.
Okay,
All in favor?
Aye.
aye.
You.
As amended or whatever.
Board of Trustees, approval of awning permit for Caribe Sports Bar, DBA Series 031 Sports Bar. Resolved that pursuant with the Village of Ossining Code, Section 229-5, the Village of Ossining Board of Trustees approves the application for the Caribe Sports Bar, Inc., DBA Series 031 Sports Bar Avenue? That's their name,
Just-
Avenue? Yeah, okay, good.
Sorry.
For the installation of the awning in accordance with the November 26, 2025 application received by the Village of Ossining Building Department and reviewed by the Board of Trustees on December 10th, 2025. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Go ahead.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Department of Public Works, agreement with Westchester County for the removal of snow and ices in designated county roads within the village. Resolved that upon review of corporation, I'm sorry.
Those are the new business, so go to the Police Relationship Advisory Committee resolution.
You're on
I
F.
apologize.
You have to go to F.
Okay. I gotta go G, right?
Whatever it is in there, because
Yeah, okay. Board of Trustees, Police Relationship Advisory Committee. Resolved that the Board of Trustees greatly acknowledges the work of the PRAC since January 2022, led by former chairperson Jackie Shaw and current chairperson, the Reverend Mary Pfeiffer. And be it resolved that effective January 1, 2026, the Police Reform Advisory Committee shall be renamed the Police Relationship Advisory Committee, whose members are the chairperson, shall be appointed by the Board of Trustees for a 3-year staggered term. And be it further resolved that the current members of the Police Reform Advisory Committee shall notify the Board of Trustees at villageofossingny.gov by December 31st, 2025, whether they want to be members of the Police Relationship Advisory Committee. And be it further resolved that at the January 7th, 2026 reorganizational meeting of the Board of Trustees shall appoint the initial members of the Police Relationship Advisory Committee and appoint a chairperson. And be it further resolved that the Police Relationship Advisory Committee shall provide updates to the Board of Trustees in addition to the annual report directed to the board and the greater Ossining community. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Hold on a second. First of all, I think it's the wrong name.
No.
It's Relations
And it might say-
Advisory.
he definitely said relationship.
Yeah.
He definitely said relationship. I
Police
checked the tape as well.
Yeah,
Okay, so,
If you want it changed, it can be changed,
Yeah.
but he
But-
definitely said relationship.
okay, that's all fine, but aren't we sitting here and aren't we allowed to change things as they're written?
yeah.
Okay,
Just said that.
so let us. I thought you said, yeah, I thought it was Relations. Where the following,
Yeah, it's supposed to be, you may have said really, it's supposed to be related.
Okay,
Do it so amended. I'm just
Yeah.
putting down what was said.
we will just, do I have a motion for the amended?
You,
Sorry.
hold on a second,
Oh,
please.
sorry.
Thank you. Okay, I want to make sure, so I want to make sure that it's clearly understood that these are recommendations, which it does say, but I want to memorialize that the board in January is going to look at this committee and establish its rules, its policies, its future, that these were recommendation by the committee, that the passing of the resolution, it does say about the name, but it does not establish all of these things or its membership or any of the chair. That was a big discussion, that in fact the board will be redesigning this committee. And so, and taking all the recommendation into effect. So the passing of the resolution is really about the committee not sunsetting, but being re-engineered in a new format. We were calling it, I think, during the conversation 3.0, and we're looking to start doing that in January of 2026. We will also be looking for people who are interested in joining the committee and asking those that want to remain in the committee to remain there. So I'm trying to memorialize so that people, when they look at video and process the information, don't just look at the written information, but actually look at this video if they want to, and we can refer to it. Did I leave anything out as far as what we're planning to do? Okay, Sue?
So Mike, I just.
Sorry,
just-
go ahead.
So with all of the
Mhm.
corrections here, do we table this or can we approve it as amended?
Well,
The only
just the
change
name.
that's being suggested is the name. I think everything else stays consistent, so it would be
Right.
just as
Yeah.
amended. And then there'll be a revised resolution provided to the clerk and then published.
Right. The rest is just memorializing it because people process information differently. And we use the recordings of these meetings, in addition to what people look at, to clarify some positions and policy.
So do I have a motion of the amended resolution?
So moved as amended.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Village manager, authorization to permit services agreement. Authorized permit service, excuse me. Resolved that following review of Corporation Council, the village manager is authorized to sign the permit services agreement effective January 1, 2026 with Fundamental Business Service, Inc., 14 Front Street, Hempstead, New York, for the one-year term of $9,000 with an extension of 2 additional years by mutual agreement. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Goosetown Communications, iPad mount installations on the
This is under, so
Oh.
first comes continuing business of the board. Is there any
Right.
continuing business? Then comes new business of the board, where we flip to the page, folks, that was added
Right.
to our material late today.
Okay, new business of the board. Goosetown Communications, iPad mount installations, Ossining Volunteer Fire Department. Resolved that following review of Corporation Council, the village manager is authorized to sign the quote 014533B1 from Goosetown Communications, 58 North Harrison Avenue, Cougars, New York, 10920 for iPad mounts for installation of 18 vehicles, 6 chief trucks and 12 fire trucks for the cost of $31,808.40. Do I have a motion?
Second?
And now comes the comments.
Right.
Okay, do we have any comments on this? I think we do.
Yeah,
Does anybody want to start?
yeah, I can start it. I've got a couple of questions for you, like, couple of questions on this one for me.
Before you go,
Yep.
who are we asking these questions? Because when I walked in here and saw this, who's going to be answering these questions?
I would imagine.
Yeah, so I'm not really going, one of you needs to get up here,
Yeah,
or the chief,
Representative.
It
of
could
the
be a
fire
representative.
department Come up.
or the chief, because it isn't going to be the staff, because they're not the ones that put this in.
Logan.
Hello. Okay, you're on.
All right, so
Dale, you're staying, excuse me, Dale, you're staying on, right? Okay.
Stay, Dale.
so for me, I'm just kind of like, I think I understand how you get the 12 fire trucks. 12, I'm gonna call it fire, you got 9 trucks, utility, a bus, and then I'm assuming there's a 12th one in there that I just don't remember in terms of.
So the total apparatuses include the chief's cars and the engines, ladders, and the
Yep.
utilities.
So there are 12 trucks. So, but there are only 3 chief cars and then a backup, right?
Correct.
So there should be four chief vehicles, not 6.
Can I interject because there was a late,
Oh, yeah, there's a revised.
that lowers the amount from 18 to 15. You got, the meeting had already started, but JT sent the revised proposal, which is now version 2, which reduces the costs with that reduction and the percentage discount to 26,567.
How much is it per vehicle? I guess I could do it on my calendar.
About 1,800 about.
Okay,
Yeah, because
that's fine.
it depends on the vehicle, the type.
Yeah, it should have been 15. It coincides with the LoSAP proposals for 15. There was a error with the 18. So it's 15 total. If you line that up with the LoSAP paperwork on file, it's 15.
Okay, so that was one of my questions because I thought that was too many.
Yeah.
Okay, so you were right. It is too many. They caught it. Thank you, JT. And now we have the right number. Okay.
But I still struggle with the $1,800 a vehicle for both the purchase and the installation. Like it's over $1,000 a physical unit, and then like $500, $500 to $700 per unit for installation, right? And so, like, I just kind of struggle with because we just got this when we showed up, and I did as quick of a search as I could online. Like the most expensive one I could find anywhere was like $400, right? For heavy duty, EMS related kind of iPad mounts, right? And so you got to help me here in terms of like
I'm going to absolutely help you. I was here to clarify the total number. I'm going to tap out. This is JT's. He could explain to you the equipment, the differences in it. I know when.
Yeah, I just the 1,800 per unit it's a big number, right?
Good evening, all.
Why we got it 8 minutes before we walked in here.
So, good evening.
Hi.
I am back to kind of straighten some things out for you. So to explain a little bit of the understanding of this situation, in the original planning for the LoSAP program, the infrastructure, everything like that, I obviously was not involved in that. As you all could probably remember seeing me, I did the majority of the radio project that you guys had thankfully and very, very much needed for our fire department. The reasoning for everything right now is that, like I just said, since we just did the radio project, we actually opened up and reinstalled and reevaluated every vehicle we have. A fire truck is not a car is not a fire truck, so on and so forth. Our oldest vehicle right now that's frontline is a 2010, not including our utilities. Once you open things up, different vendors have done different things over the past. We found a lot of issues from vendors that we've used in the past that had to be corrected. Just taking apart and doing certain things in a truck will take between an hour to 3 hours. That is the reason for the labor rate. The equipment itself, not to put you on the spot, Chief Zimmerman, but you guys get new vehicles all the time. We are looking for longevity. I don't know, you guys use Havas for your iPad docking or your tablet docking? So we went with pretty much not like the best, but one of the best as far as its longevity, as far as its durability. We've never done this before. This is a completely new world for us, and we went what was best recommended and used it across emergency services. Granted, you can look at things online and you can find cheaper options, but you could also buy Temu and replace it in 3 months. We wanted something that we know that we install it today will last potentially the entire length of the truck or until the actual technology is obviously outlived, because we know how it is. Technology is ever evolving. We don't know what we're going to go into. Hence, with the radio project being as extensive and stringent as it was, we are now set for the next 10, 12 years potentially. Obviously, technology is going to dictate that. The apparatus have a different mount than the vehicles, depending where they're going to be mounted. Um, the accessibility from both the operator, being the driver, and the officer, whoever's riding in the front seat. Again, looking at durability, rugged, tough. They're built to do this. Sure, we could get something that could probably be half the price. Is it going to last a year or two? We don't know. Again, this is a new thing for us. The other reason why we want to do this is because not just is this going to be able to do LoSAP, this will also be able to do our integrated responding app system. It's called I Am Responding. We'll be able to have hydrant plots. It'll give all of our incidents live, real time in the apparatus. So again, it's the ability of moving it around, actually taking it out of the vehicle, being it portable based, so you can go to an incident and you can have hazmat chem lookup books, everything like that. So again, the durability of it coming in and out of the vehicle, stuff like that. We want it to be rugged and tough and last. If the money's going to be there, the taxpayers and you are seeing it deemed fit to actually be spent on, we want to make sure that it's going to be there to work and not break. That's our biggest thing. Goosetown's did a fantastic job with the installs over the past 2 to 3 months, which I've been overseeing. Actually, to give you a little bit of an update, since you knew all that, actually the last one was done today. Again, we did find a lot of issues. Once you open up these trucks, we don't know what we're going to find. One or two of them actually have been pre-wired for that since they opened them up. We would love to have done it when we did the radio rip out and reinstall, but unfortunately this didn't coincide with that. But like I said, Havas is the brand of docks that we're looking to purchase. They speak for itself as far as their durability, and that's why we wanted to go with them. Again, we are looking, if we're going to spend the money of the taxpayer, that it's best spent. We don't want to
You
have to
wanna,
come back and do this again.
Do you want to? Do you want to continue with this?
Also, sorry to cut you off. We did also explore the price that was given us by the vendor, and then also a contract price, so you would not have to go out for stuff like that. They were discounted less than a contract price. So they're giving us the best price. They gave us a gigantic discount when it came to the radio project. They've been nothing but fantastic when it's come to working with the department in the village.
Do you know why this is a little disturbing to get this 8 minutes before we walked into a meeting?
Unfortunately, that is not on me. I was given this later on in the project. My job is to do what I have to do with vehicles.
Right.
That is not on me. I'm by no means throwing anybody under the bus.
Right.
I am doing what was brought to me.
Right. So,
The information that was given to me was also not 100% accurate. I thought there was going to be more than there was.
yeah, nobody's actually
But there you
blaming
go.
you. Here's the thing. I spent a lot of months of my life dealing with this stuff.
Mhm.
All I said at every meeting, and this is not to you, is make sure you know what you're getting us into, because we will be recommending it to the public. 31,000, 28,000, not the biggest amount we've had to do. We just did the budget a month ago. We haven't even started this project, and we're already being surprised with stuff that, in all fairness to us, how someone didn't think, by talking to all these other departments that they all talked to, how you guys didn't sit there and say that you needed mounting and that it would cost X amount, because we are not the first. It might be first to you and it might be first here. It's upsetting because we just recommended this a month and a half ago to taxpayers, and this did not come up. I had to actually ask Mike for more money to be budgeted, like lawyers, because we always get sued by people for whatever. Nobody predicted the lawyers. We did, because we have a responsibility. So the reason I said 8 minutes before we walked in here is because this is not an emergency. This should have been predicted, and here's my level. I walked in here today believing in LoSAP like up here, and that the numbers we were given were good because so much research was done with other departments. This is not a surprise, and it's not unique to Ossining. Every fire department in New York State that has LoSAP has this, because every one of them has to mount these things. Every one of them has trucks that we buy all time. It's not about whether you got the best price or didn't get, or Ossining has some unique super duper fire engines that nobody else has. And it's not a comparison to anything except I'm walking in here, I go with constituents, and it isn't about just the taxpayers, whether they'll pay 31,000 or 28 or 15 or 7 cents. We're already like misjudged what we need, and I'm gonna walk in here in 3 months and find out one more thing. So it's just like, I hate starting the year in 2 weeks already in the hole on something that is not an emergency, should have, could have been predicted, should have, could have been included. Dale spent hundreds of hours on this. We're already in the hole. And what happens to constituents, what happens to people who sit on this side is that you start losing, you walk in, you feel a little bit like, are you kidding me? We haven't even started the year. We're already in a hole over something that was easily predictable. It's not a comment on whether you found the best price or not. It does seem a little high to us, but okay. But there are other engine companies and other firehouses that could have told you what the average price is to do the average truck, to at least get a ballpark. So we already missed something. And I don't know what to do with it because you guys are placing this board in a really uncomfortable situation. You're already surprising us. Not a lot of money, not the end of the world. Yeah, it's just like, it's not something we needed today, and it's not something we ever need. The worst thing for a board of trustees is surprises. And the only thing that we really are uniquely responsible for, and the only ones in this entire village, and this is not directed at you, although I feel bad because you're standing in front of the mic, and it's not really about you. It's about other people sitting behind you that I have to sit and talk with. It's like, I don't want any surprises. No one likes surprises sitting here because I can't justify this. You guys missed this. You didn't give it to Dale. It wasn't included, and I don't want any more of this, and I'm really worried.
I'm gonna turn it over to Michael.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can't let him sit there.
It's like-
I can't let JT stand there and take the responsibility. This was my project. This falls on me. We do have 9,500 left over,
Yeah,
so
we do.
that is reduced from there.
Right.
I will take full responsibility for the oversight and the brackets and the mounts and the pricing. What I would suggest is that we table it till January. Let us try to get different proposals. Let's try to get this chewed down. JT was asked to get a price. He brought a price.
Yeah, understood.
I
So-
think,
And that was just to answer his question about.
No, 100%, but I can't have him
Well,
stand here
Really coming up.
when it falls on me.
that it's the context that we're missing. So, perhaps, it would be good, I think Maddie, Dale and I can help you navigate the process here so that we can get the information to the board to have them briefed before the meeting. Then we have a meeting in January and, then have a resolution. Because I think even for us, like we were, we're here to help you. Let me put it that
Oh,
way.
absolutely.
And
Everybody's
you
been a
guys
great
are
help.
volunteers and
Absolutely.
you're trying to pull all this
Right.
together. It's a lot of work and JT does a great job. You've done a great job. So we're a little bit more familiar with the timing and the process of these things.
Absolutely.
So please rely on us to help you through.
Oh,
We'll get
100%.
it all
Why
set
was
for
this
January.
put under new business? Is there a time is of the essence to this, that a
So-
contract or something has to be signed, that it was put in so quickly?
So Mayor, what's been drilled in my head since the start is compliance and accountability, right? We started with that.
Right.
Just to correct one comment, we will be the first department or one of the first departments that does have them in their rigs. Other departments don't have them in their rigs.
Where do they have them?
They have them in their firehouses. We are going above and beyond as we should for the accountability and for the safety and the legal measures to make sure there is no lack of accountability for thumbing in and for biometrics. So I just want to make that clear that we are pioneering
And that
this
was
as
in all
well.
of our meetings, right?
Yes, correct.
That was the piece that we discussed that said, how do you have accuracy when it's in the firehouses when you go directly to fires?
Correct.
That was the piece.
Correct. So I heard you loud and clear. I want to make sure that
We're
we,
loud and clear about don't surprise and don't shove things in front of us 8 minutes before we sit here, right?
absolutely.
Okay. That's
So
what that's what matters to me.
yes, absolutely. So apologies,
Go back.
apologies on the oversight.
It's all right.
We will work on this, and I'm sure with everybody's joint effort, we will get it to where it needs to be.
Okay,
Yeah,
so you're gonna look at
absolutely.
it with these guys. So there is no time is of the essence issue here.
The time of the time of the essence is we want to go live with biometrics, whether that's in the firehouses, which that
Yeah.
project is moving along, or on the rigs, whichever comes first. Now, we do have the $9,000, so the thought here is that we take that and get some of the rigs done with that $9,000. If that's acceptable while we entertain the difference of the funds.
Okay, I need some specificity. This is why I'm doing this last minute.
Yeah.
We've got 2 weeks left. This is our last. We don't have any more meetings to vote on this without calling a special meeting. You want to get this started January 1st of 2026 to get a full year? Is that what's happening here? Okay. It would have been good to actually include that in here. So to do that, the board has to vote tonight unless we call a special meeting. So there is a little bit of time is of the essence here.
Well,
So somebody explain to
the
me.
reason, like, I think first off, it's better that we all have consensus because I do have a little bit of concern. I know that the installation is under the county contract. It's not clear to me that the equipment is. So that,
Oh, okay.
okay, so that, you're shaking your head? Okay, so that was that, that means that we have to get 3 quotes for the equipment, document 3 quotes as per our
Understood.
procurement policy.
No.
So I think it's, if I'm understanding you, we can still get this done in January. It's just probably better that we take a little bit of a step back to move forward and make sure that we have everything really tightly sewn up.
Okay.
Totally agree.
Is that-
Yes.
Okay, so what we can do is between now and the first work session in January, which will be January 14th, we'll we'll work with you, get
Alright.
everything together, and we'll do a presentation in January, on January 14th, that would prepare the board for a resolution on the following legislative session, which would be the 21st. Is that timing okay?
Objections?
Did you guys, okay, because it's a tight fit. You got the holidays, your own families, it's a
We'll work
crazy
with you
time of
after
the
the
year.
first of the year, we'll get it done.
Absolutely.
Okay,
I have no doubt.
now, if we're one of are we the first to put this in the vehicles?
I
Or
can tell
one
you,
of the first? There's a difference.
there's another department that's doing it because we're doing it and they like the accountability. So
So we're the
from what
first.
I'm told, that we were unable to see any in the apparatuses. I mean, in this area, on the island, there's some, but in this area, in Westchester,
So do me a favor and call whoever on the island is doing this. Trucks are trucks. Find out what other surprises are awaiting us. We can't sit here and hear another surprise for 100,000 and 50,000, and that's what's going to happen. It puts us in a very bad position that we don't like being in. So call these people up and find out what else is going to surprise us and try to predict and try to get a better deal on the whatever.
absolutely.
Does anybody, I mean, I didn't even go to you guys. It's just like, this is what happens when we get last minute stuff. Go ahead.
So I think that's good. So like just for the, like the future, like getting the details ahead of time would be very, very helpful, right? And
I
appreciate
agree.
the details that you were
Yeah.
going through, okay, from that standpoint. I do think that there were a couple comments in what you were talking about that under the no surprises mantra, you had said you just picked up the vehicles and going through and doing a bunch of stuff. You said you found a bunch of stuff. Like when I hear like we found a bunch of stuff, that to me indicates, don't need an answer tonight, but at some point it would be good to understand what that is, right? That
How much it's going to cost.
It was from past stuff that we now just found, because the trucks haven't been opened up.
totally get that. Totally understand, right? But like understanding the implications of finding stuff is something that would be helpful, like next year, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
Anybody else have questions? Okay.
Do I have a
Thank
motion
you.
to table this resolution?
So then,
Thank you very much.
Second.
Second, and
Favor?
all in favor?
No,
Yes.
table.
The table.
To table it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Okay,
Yeah,
we
but
want
other
to do the
than
next
this,
one?
Yep.
I'm afraid.
We don't like new business.
No, I can do it. I can do it, Stuart. I said, do we want to do it? Period.
We do. She's being funny.
Department of Public Works agreement with Westchester County for the removal of snow and ice in designated county roads within the village. Resolved that upon review of Corporation Council, the village manager is authorized to sign an agreement with the County of Westchester, 148 Maritime Avenue, White Plains, New York, 10601, whereby the county will reimburse the village for the removal of snow and ice on designated roads within the village, and be it further resolved that the term will be a 5-year agreement, October 1, 2025 to September 30th, 2030. There's that 30 again. Do I have a motion?
Second?
And in the theme of why is this under new business? Don't we do these contracts on a regular basis? Did something happen?
This contract was just approved by the county on
Oh,
December.
oh, we had this conversation. Yeah, and the county took a little bit longer. Got it. That's why it's under new business. Okay.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Do I have a
Bob,
motion?
you're an eye on this? Okay.
Oh,
Okay,
you
so we're
okay?
done with the new business.
okay. That it was new business. Do we have do we have a motion to adjourn? Are you going into executive?
Session for matter of personnel, matter of pending litigation, and matter of real estate.
Yes.
Okay, folks, we have
Do I have a motion?
So move to adjourn to executive session?
second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I just want to say that this is our last legislative session of 2025. What's the matter, Karen? Good night, gentlemen.
Cheers.
Okay. All right, we're going into exec. Everyone, good night, 9/12. Enjoy the holidays. And do come for the inauguration on January 1st if you're able to. We're
All in
adjourned.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I thought she did that.
Yeah, I
Aye.
just want to make sure.